Mercurius Dumias, meaning Mercury of the Dome, was the divine guardian of the Auvergne in south-central France. The Auvergne were one of the largest and most influential tribes in Gaul between the late Iron Age and Roman era. They paid homage to Mercurius Dumias as the genius loci of their large territory. In the 2nd century AD, the Arverni built a huge Gallo-Roman temple dedicated to Mercurius Dumias. Some of the materials came from a nearby smaller temple that was destroyed in the 1st century AD. The Temple of Mercury, as it became known, stood on the summit of Puy de Dome, the sacred home of Mercurius Dumias. The Auvergne believed his living spirit dwelt within the mountainous landscape. The Temple of Mercury could be seen from their capital at Augusta Nemetum, meaning the sanctuary of Augustus. The Roman town of Augusta Nemetum is now known as Clermont-Ferrand in the Auvergne-Rhone-Alps region of south-central France. The Auvergne paid homage to the god of the mountain in the form of a local Gaulish Mercury during the Roman era. Historians agree Mercurius Dumias was another name for the Celtic god Arvernus. According to Wikipedia, Mercurius Dumias, like the name of the Arverni and of Auvergne, is derived from the Proto-Celtic word in front of alders. Arvernus was the patron deity of the Auvergne and the guardian spirit of their lands during the Iron Age. In the Gallo-Roman era, Arvernus was referred to as the Romano-Celtic deities Mercurius Arvernus and Mercury Arvenorix on 8 votive inscriptions in the Rhineland in Germany. The depictions of Mercurius Arvernus at Clermont-Ferrand showed him with the same attributes as the Roman god Mercury. Pliny the Elder recounted the Auvergne paid the Greek sculptor Zenodorus for million sesterces to fashion a large bronze statue of Mercury. Archaeologists discovered a similar statue of Mercury at Clermont-Ferrand, which is thought to be the one referred to in Pliny's writings. This statue was probably a sacred object of Mercurius Arvernus, also known as Mercurius Dumias, in the Temple of Vasso-Galatae at Clermont-Ferrand. The Temple of Vasso-Galatae was built in the 2nd century AD and dedicated to Mercury. An inscription on a votive altar at Miltenberg in Germany refers to Arvernus as Mercury Arvenorix, or King of the Auvergne.
To Mercury, king of the Auvergne, Cassius made this offering voluntarily, after a dream.
Other inscriptions honored Mercurius Arvernus, or Mercury of the Auvergne, at places such as Meerbusch and Cologne in Germany. These dedications were made by the Auvergne, serving in the Roman army on the Rhine frontier between the 2nd and 3rd centuries AD. The Temple of Mercury was a major pilgrimage site on the Via Agrippa. Pilgrims reached the entrance after climbing a series of terraces and paths along the Cesar Pass. The summit of Puy de Dome was particularly sacred to Mercurius Dumias. The mountain sanctuary was the largest of its kind in the Western Roman Empire. The temple complex covered nearly 3/4 of an acre and displayed a blend of Celtic and Roman architectural styles. Both the interior and exterior were lavishly adorned with mosaics and vast quantities of marble and local trachyte stone. Visitors were provided with accommodation and places of worship. They offered prayers and gifts to Mercurius Dumias at the numerous altars and statues in the temple's rooms. Matutinius Victorinus honored Mercurius Dumias with a votive inscription on a small bronze tablet.
In the name of Augustus and the god Mercury of the Dome.
A small statue of Mercury found at the site was probably a representation of Mercurius Dumias. The dedications to Mercury, the Roman god of commerce and travelers, confirmed merchants and tradespeople regularly visited the sanctuary during their trips between Lyon and Saintes. The Temple of Mercury was one of the many trading centers in the territory of the Auvergne. The sanctuary served as an important commercial hub for their local economy. The Auvergne solicited the divine protection of Mercurius Dumias to maintain their thriving economy during the Gallo-Roman era. The divine attributes of Mercurius Dumias resembled Mercury, the Roman god of trade, travelers, thieves, and the underworld. Julius Caesar noted that the Gauls had many images of Mercury. The Gaulish Mercury was the inventor of all arts. The Gauls consider him the guide of their journeys. They believe him to have great influence over the acquisition of gain and mercantile transactions. Julius Caesar incorporated the Arverni into the Roman Empire after defeating their leader, Vercingetorix, at the Battle of Alesia in 52 BC. The Arverni prospered under the Romans as they controlled the lucrative trade routes between the Mediterranean and northern Gaul. Their affluence derived from their vast mineral wealth and a flourishing trade in high-quality weapons, agricultural goods, and metalworking. Gregory of Tours recounted that the temple at Puy de Dome was destroyed during the Germanic invasions in the 3rd century. Artifacts such as coins confirmed that the followers of Mercurius Dumias regularly visited the Temple of Mercury until the 4th and 5th centuries AD. The Celtic gods and goddesses are discussed in our WordPress blog, Legends of Love in Celtic Mythology. The book, Green Man, The Gods of Sacred Trees, on Amazon explores the ancient woodland deities of Britain, Ireland, and Europe.